আসসালামু আলাইকুম সুপ্রিয় শিক্ষার্থীরা, আশা করি তোমরা সকলে ভালো আছো। আমি মোহাম্মদ জাহিদুল ইসলাম, কুইক প্রিপারেশন অনলাইন স্কুলের পক্ষ থেকে তোমাদের জানাই স্বাগতম। আজকে আমরা দ্বিতীয় সপ্তাহের নবম শ্রেণীর অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট হচ্ছে ইংলিশ নিয়ে এক হাত নিয়ে হাজির হয়ে গেছি। চলো তাহলে দেরি না করে শুরু করা যাক। প্রিয় শিক্ষার্থীরা, আমাদের যে অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট নবম শ্রেণীর অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের যে বিষয়গুলো পড়তে হবে সেটি হচ্ছে ইউনিট এক ফাদার অফ নেশন, এবং লেসন যেটা পড়তে হচ্ছে সেটা হচ্ছে লেসন 1 বঙ্গবন্ধুস ফ্যামিলি ইন 1971, লেসন 2 দ্য টেল অফ হোম কামিং, লেসন 3 বঙ্গবন্ধু অ্যাট দ্য ইউএন, লেসন 4 বঙ্গবন্ধুস রিলেশনশিপ উইথ আদার কান্ট্রিজ। এই বিষয়গুলো আমাদেরকে পড়তে হচ্ছে। আর অ্যাসাইনমেন্টটা কি? প্রিপেয়ার এ ফ্যাক্ট ফাইল, a short report of all the most important information on the person or subject on the father of nation Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. You can use narrative, picture, image, information, newspaper clips, etc. support your assignment. Write 180 to 200 words. টপিক টাইটেল থাকতে হবে, ইন্ট্রোডাকশন থাকতে হবে, বডি ডিসক্রিপশন থাকতে হবে, কনক্লুশন থাকতে হবে। এটা হচ্ছে আমাদের ইনস্ট্রাকশন দেওয়া আছে। তাহলে চলো আমরা আমাদের বিষয়গুলো করে আসি। আমরা এখানে আমাদের তথ্যগুলো দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, ছবি তোমরা ইচ্ছা করলে পেপার থেকে অনলাইন থেকে ডাউনলোড করে নিতে পারো। ফাদার অফ দ্য নেশন বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান। ইন্ট্রোডাকশন। দ্য লাইফ অফ বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান ইজ saga of a great leader, turning people power into an armed struggle in the liberated nation and created the world's 18th most populous state, the birth of the sovereign state of Bangladesh in December 1971. After a heroic war of 9 months against Pakistan colonial rule, was the triumph of the faith, the destiny of the people. Sheikh Mujib, indirectly called Bangabandhu or the friend of Bengal, rose from the people, modeled their hopes and the aspiration into the dream and stuck in his life as long as battle of the marketing, making it real. He was a true democrat, and he employed in his struggle for the securing justice and the fair play for the Bengalis only democratic and constitutional weapons until the last moment. Birth and boyhood. Sheikh Mujib was born 17 March 1920 in the middle class family at Tungipara in Gopalganj district. His father named Sheikh Lutfur Rahman and mother name is Sheikh Saira Khatun. He was born into Bengali Muslim family as the third child in the family of 4 daughters and 2 sons. His parents used to adorably call him Khoka. Education life. In 1929, Mujib entered into class 3 at Gopalganj Public School, and 2 years later, class 4, Madaripur Islamia High School. From very early age, Mujib showed a potential of leadership. Mujib withdrew from school 1934 to eye to surgery and returned to school only after 4 years, owning the severity of the surgery and the slow recovery. Let him first his matriculation from the Gopalganj Missionary School in 1942, intermediate of arts from Islamia College 1944, and BA from the same college in 1947. After the partition of India, he was admitted into the University of Dhaka to study law, but did not complete the course because he was expelled because he was expelled from the university in early 1949 on the charge of infecting the 4th class employees in their agitation against the university authorities in defense towards their legitimate demands. After in 2010, the expulsion was withdrawn as unjust as undemocratic. Political life. His political life began as the humble party worker. While he was still a student, he was fortunate to come to early contact with such towards personalities as Hossein Shoaib Sohrabdi, A.K. Fazlul Haq, both charismatic chief minister of undivided Bengal. Adolescent Mujib grew up under the father, gathering the gloom of stormy politics as again the British Raj in India was falling apart, and the Second World War was violently rocking the continent. He witnessed the revenge of the war and the Stark relation, the Great Famine of 1943, in which about 5 million people lost their lives. The tragic plague, the people under colonial rule turned into the Mujib into the rebel. In 1948, a movement was in hand to make Bengali one of the state languages of Pakistan. This can term the first stirrings of movement for the independent Bangladesh. The demand for the cultural freedom gradually led into the demand of the national independence. During the language movement, Sheikh Mujib was arrested and sent into the jail. During the blood dispersion language movement in 1952, he was again arrested. Into their time that provided inspiring leadership into the movement from inside the jail. In 1954, Sheikh Mujib was elected a member of their East Pakistan Assembly. He joined A.K. Fazlul Haq's United Front government as the youngest minister. The ruling of Pakistan soon dissolved, and this government of Sheikh Mujib was once again thrown into the prison. In 1955, he was elected as a member of the Pakistan Constitutional Assembly, was again made a minister when the Awami League formed the provincial government 1956. Soon after, General Ayub Khan Straz, the military coup the Pakistan into 1958, Sheikh Mujib was arrested once again, and a number of cases were instituted against him. He was released after 14 months in prison, but he was rearrested into February 1962. In fact, he spent the best part of his youth behind the prison bars. 6 point of movement. On February 5, 1960, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman presented his historic 6 point of program known as the Charter of Freedom of the Bengali Nation. It drew the roadmap for the independence to Bangladesh under the grab of greater and autonomy. The program hit hard at the roots and Pakistani colonial rule over the Bengalis. In the council meeting he held during the March 18 to 20, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was elected the president of the Awami League. He traveled far in order to gain support from the 6-point program, and he was arrested 8 times during the campaign. Leading the Rigmir arrested him finally on the 8 May 1966. He was imprisoned for the nearly 3 years during this time. 1970, the election was civil disobedience. On 12th of November 1970, the major coastal cyclone, 1970 Bhola cyclone, struck East Pakistan, leaving the hundreds of thousands dead and millions displaced. Bengali were targeted, and the unrest began because he is considered as a weak and ineffective response the central government to the disaster. Public opinion was political parties in East Pakistan blamed to the governing authorities to intentionally neglected. The West Pakistan politician attacked Awami League for the allegacy using the crisis for the political gain. The dissatisfaction led to division within the civil service, politics, and Pakistani armed force. In Pakistani general election held on 7 December 1970, the Awami League under Mujib leadership won a massive majority in the provincial elections, but 2 of the East Pakistan quota seats into the new National Assembly Pakistan through the forming the clear majority. Establishment of Bangladesh following the General Yahya Khan postponement of the National Assembly session on March 2, 1971. Only 2 days before the session was due to take the place, every selection of Bengalis instantly came out the streets and massive demonstration. The Bengali aspiration of the freedom reached in the indominant height. From March 1 on to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was virtually running the East Pakistan as the de facto head the government. On March 7, in his historic speech before the millions of people are recourse maiden Swardi Uddan, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman called his fellow countrymen take to the preparation for the war, liberation, independence of Bangladesh. In this grave situation, Pakistan President General Yahya Khan came to Dhaka and held a series of meetings with Sheikh Mujibur Rahman between March 16 to March 24, none of which brought about the resolution. On the midnight of 25 March, Pakistan Army launches a heinous campaigns of genocide against the unarmed Bengalis. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman proclaimed the independence of the Bangladeshi in the early hours of March 26. Right after the proclamation, the arrested had taken to the Pakistan prison. On April 10, 1971, the first government of People Republic of Bangladesh was formed, and Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was elected as the president by the Constituent Assembly. Syed Nazrul Islam elected the vice president and the acting president in the absence of the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and Tajuddin Ahmed as the prime minister. The government took oath from the office of April 70, the famous mango garden by Amro Kanan of the Baidranath Tola and Meherpur, which was known as the Mujibnagar. After 9 months, a bloody war, Bangladesh was liberated with surrender of the Pakistan Occupation Army, December 16, 1971. During the August-September 1971, Pakistan Janata held a secret trial of the Bangabandhu and sentenced him to death. The freedom-loving people of the world was engaged the demand of the security of the President of the Bangladesh. On December 27, Bangabandhu's government shouted Mujib immediate to the unconditional release death. Father of nation Bangladesh Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is the architect of the Bangladesh, was assassinated by the handful army regards as a part of the larger national as the international political conspiracy hatched by the anti-liberation forces the pre-dawn hours of the August 15. The murdered into the cold-blooded, every member in his family except the daughter Sheikh Hasina and Sheikh Rehana, who by the fortunate along were abroad at that time. Bangladesh observed August 15 as the National Mourning Day and remembered the nobles and the greatest Bengali who is ever lived. Through his spread ideology, course, and love for the people of his nation. Conclusion: the father of nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, is the architect of the independence of Bangladesh. He is the recognized as the greatest Bengali of the past 1,000 years. Will own his charismatic leadership for the making us a free nation. বন্ধুরা, আজকের মতো আমাদের এটি ছিল অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের মূল বিষয়বস্তু। এটিকে তোমরা কাজে লাগিয়ে আরও কিছু ছবি অ্যাড করে আরও সুন্দরভাবে তোমরা করতে পারবে। আর যাওয়ার আগে একটি কথা, সকলকে ধন্যবাদ। সাবস্ক্রাইব করবে যারা করনি, যারা করেছে আরও ধন্যবাদ। ফেসবুক পেজে লাইক দিবে, কমেন্ট করবে, যে কোনো বিষয়ে আমাদের সাথে শেয়ার করবে। ধন্যবাদ সকলকে, দেখা হবে পরবর্তী ভিডিওতে।